guys, and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You're joined by your usual hosts, Sir Josh Hartley, Ben Porter.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I didn't know what you were doing there, if you were like doing a bit or whatever.
No, I was introducing you as I normally do.
Right, okay. Well, anyway,
yes.
we'll talk about this later.
Oh,
but we are joined on this special UK Games Expo post-mortem podcast.
What?
Well, what would you call it?
It's not dead.
Well, right, okay. UK Games Expo summary podcast. We are joined by a man known for his massive organ. Ron Jeremy. Sorry to disappoint you, it's Iain McAllister.
That's better, actually. Hello, Iain McAllister of the Giant Brain.
Hello, how you doing, guys?
Yes, exhausted.
Yeah,
extremely sweaty
yes.
as well.
It's very, very humid down here.
I appreciate having conventions in the height of British summer because it is nice to go somewhere different when the sun's shining and the city's going to be looking at its best.
But not when you are encased in the body heat of 10,000 nerds.
Yeah.
It's a terrible way to go.
Yeah. the heat of 10,000 nerds.
That is not an exaggeration.
No, it was. So UK Games Expo has been growing every single year. I believe it is now officially the third most attended tabletop convention in the world.
I think so, yeah.
Which is an achievement in of itself. We had Richard on the show a little while back, so well done on a great job, Richard, frankly, because I think everything was ran, certainly from our point of view.
It is worth saying Richard and his army of volunteers.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is an almost military scale operation, this expo.
We had images of Richard addressing his volunteers, much like Saruman addressing the Uruk-hai.
A new power is rising.
But no, well done, guys. I cannot fault the way the show was organised. And that is no mean feat, as herding 10,000 people, I believe, would be tricky.
Yeah.
So, let's dive into the expo.
We have so much to cover.
Let's start with the Thursday night press preview, because we were all there.
Yep,
yes.
There we were.
So what happened was there was a window of a couple of hours where those of us who were lucky enough to score press passes were given an invite to have a chat with some of the exhibitors early. Some of them had set up little smaller stalls, either demonstrating their games or showing off what a little taster, an aperitif.
So as far as I'm aware, no one was playing games at this event. It was really just the designers. A lot of them had like a copy of the game laid out in front of them, and I don't know about you, Iain, but really all we were doing here was handing out business cards.
Yeah, I basically I used it to essentially ignore anyone who's on my hit list. Touch base with a couple of people like Thomas from Teamborn, but basically have a wee sort of look at things I hadn't necessarily or sort of on my peripheral for looking at the con and seeing if they were actually worth going to their stand and checking out the next day. So the first thing I did was go to like Osprey, and Martin Wallace was there talking through Wildlands. Which is his new miniature thing.
We had a chat with Martin as
interesting. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to get a demo at the con, but it seems okay. It seems like an interesting
thing.
thing.
One of the things, like, you'd said prior to this convention that you'd really thinned out your hit list and were trying to prioritise things, but I mean, certainly we wrote our own preview article with the things we really wanted to see. We still didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do.
I was pretty pleased with just how much we did manage to do, though. So because I think the only thing we didn't really get a proper go at, and we'll talk about it later, is sort of Ice and Fire, and I think pretty much everything else we managed to cover.
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about the other days later.
Yeah.
So what was your takeaway from the press preview? Because it was only like a 2-hour event, really, wasn't it?
I stayed. I was. You guys turned up a little bit later. I was there from the start. I hung around for about an hour and a half or so thereabouts. Just sort of did the rounds a couple of times, speaking to a few different folks. Like I say, casting my eye over a few things on the peripheral. It was useful in that way to see actually lay eyes on games that you'd only heard of or seen pictures of, and see if there was actually something you wanted to go and look at.
Although, I mean, I say we were really just handing out business cards, but we're saying hello to a lot of people we knew. So
Mark McKinnon of Record Rune fame, and Bears, and we managed to catch some of the Polyhedron Collider guys briefly as well, and so it was good to say hi because frankly we just did not have the time during the main con.
It's really a place for you to make introductions rather than to do any actual press work, I think. So it's useful in that respect, in that I think if you're maybe coming to the show, aren't quite sure what's there, but insofar as we were concerned, it was more just talking to people. When's the best time to swing by your stand, that sort of thing.
I did have a chat to a couple of exhibitors that were a little concerned, like with video folk taking up quite a lot of their time because they carry around cameras, they take a little bit of time to set up. Then they ask their questions and that's like 20 minutes out of your 2 hours. And you're watching other sort of press people go past. So I don't know if that the press preview is the place to do those kind of interviews. I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just speaking to folk. I'd like yourselves passing out cards and that kind of thing.
It's kind of like a maybe not, because while it does take up a little bit more of your time, if on tabletop, as the Beasts of War guys are now known as, if they're interviewing you on camera, right, you're probably gonna get a lot more out of that than you would by talking to probably 10 regular journalists. So it's swings and roundabouts, I think, really. There is one game I do want to talk about because we didn't get a chance to see it in the main con, and it was completely not on my radar at all. A really interesting looking role-playing game called Sins, set in a sort of near-future dystopian world. The book and the presentation was absolutely gorgeous. And I really like the idea of the setting. I've said it a couple of times on the podcast, but not that I dislike sci-fi and fantasy, but any game that's not set in those genres always catches my eye a little bit more because I like to see something a bit different. So I'm gutted that I never actually got the time to swing by their stand. If nothing else, they were lovely people as well. So we're definitely going to check that out because as good as the theme is, the proof of how good an RPG is how strong the actual game mechanics are.
I think that won the People's Choice Award as well for the RPG.
Yes, I knew it was nominated, so congrats. But we'll look into that at a future point.
So Friday, we were actually in one of the events.
Yes, we're in the Shadespire Grand Clash. Not only was this Ben and I's first Grand Clash, this is actually our first organised play event for Shadespire.
I believe it's also the biggest Grand Clash they've had in the UK yet.
Something around 80 people.
So very much a baptism of fire for us. But I have to say, I had a really good time. All 4 of my opponents were genuinely nice guys. As far as results go, we both won 2, lost 2. I finished 28th. What position did you finish, Josh?
I don't think that's too important, really. Nah. So I think the main thing is we won and lost the same number of matches, and that's kind of like the end of that.
All right. So how many of the exclusive activation tokens did you get?
Well, again, this isn't like a big deal.
Well,
all right, you did better than me. All right, is that what you wanted me to say?
Josh finished 45th place.
I'm not bitter.
Not even top half.
Oh, come on, man! Kick a man while he's down. Like, jeez, look, people kick around phrases like successful and failure. But look,
these are just words.
These are just words. It's the taking part that counts. But no, I kid on. We both had a great day.
Yeah.
Fun to play against a variety of different opponents, and just actually, it was nice to spend a little bit of the con not being press people.
Yeah.
In a weird way. But that was not the case for you, Ian, on Friday.
No, I was full on press for most of the 3 days. I had a quiet day today. But yeah, so my first appointment in the morning was Ruthless from Alley Cat Games. I didn't have many appointments at the con, but that's really good. Sort of pirate themed deck builder.
We're gonna
from Roland. Surname temporarily escapes me.
I think his company's name is Roland's Revenge.
Yeah, that's right, Roland's Revenge. So he's the artist and designer of the game. Really nice, fast-pacey deck builder with some interesting twists on the sort of deck builder mechanics.
So we were saying that because we played this game on the Saturday morning, and we actually managed to play it with the designer as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really liked, because I can be quite critical of deck builders, because I feel like a lot of the time they can just devolve into essentially you sitting across from another person while you're simultaneously playing a solo game.
Yeah, you don't tend to enjoy spending half an hour watching me draw cards.
No.
I can't imagine why. It's incredibly entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of deck builders can devolve into that sort of lonely fun around the table while.
Yeah. But you had a lot of cards that force your opponent to discard things from your hand, and it actually worked like this weird sort of poker type mechanic into the game, which made it a lot more interesting than your standard deck builder, but was also, like we were saying, like slightly thematic.
Yeah,
almost with the pirate theme.
Yeah.
It was. It's definitely what you can tell. It's one of those games where it was designed with I'm going to make a deck building game, and it's going to be about pirates. How do I make it feel like it's about pirates?
Definitely.
I really like that.
There's a lot of good theme comes through in that game, and the price point's going to be right for it as well. They were saying like 20 to 25 quid when it comes out.
Yeah, that's absolutely bang on the
basically
money.
sold.
Yeah.
And
the artwork is first class.
Yeah,
as you'd expect from a guy who Roland's regular job is an illustrator. So
I think he's done quite a bit of board game illustration. I don't have his credits to hand, but we'll link to his personal page in the show notes. But I think he does a bit of work for video games as well.
I was speaking to him in the Hilden Bar last night, and I think he's now exclusively board games.
Okay,
so he used to do some illustration work for video games.
Because the board game market's
big enough for that. The board game market's explosive. So we were talking about Essen, and he basically just goes to Essen to touch base with board game publishers and go kind of draw things for you.
Yeah, but I think the consensus with all three of us is Ruthless is one to watch.
Yeah,
very good game.
Out later this year, I believe.
Yeah, Alley Cat Games. It's going to be an Essen release and hitting retail just beforehand. They hope. It depends
and it is straight to retail.
Straight to retail, no Kickstarter, nothing like that. Just you will be able to buy it.
So autumn release. Keep your eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, if you pre-order it from Alley Cat Games, you get a promo card as well. I believe.
Oh, there we go. Extra incentive.
Yep.
It's almost like they're good business people.
Yeah, they are indeed. Yeah, they're nice folks.
Yeah. We were actually having a nice chat with Cesar as well before we... Cesar being the head honcho of Alley Cat Games as well. It was great to put a face to the name as well, or rather a human face rather than his cartoon counterpart that I keep seeing on Facebook.
As nice as his little cartoon portrait is, it's nice to see an actual human face as well. But on the Friday, just before we dive back into what you did the rest of the day, we did manage to catch up with Playfusion.
Yes.
Playfusion are quite well known for Lightseekers, which is a very popular game now. Got a big organised play circuit. And what Playfusion do is they are both a tabletop and video game developer.
Yeah.
So all of their games have some sort of digital component. And the thing that we really wanted to catch up with them to talk about was Age of Sigmar Champions.
So we were lucky enough to get to play the game. Unfortunately, we are under a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
So we will talk about it in a future podcast once we have cleared with them what we're allowed to talk about. So, safe to say though, I think all three of us were pretty impressed.
It's very good. We need to run by what we're allowed to talk about with Playfusion
before we vomit it all over the internet and annoy them.
Yeah.
Which we don't want to do. So, watch this space, folks.
That was the only thing that we really got to look at on the Friday. So, back to you, Ian.
So I hit up Brain Crack Games. next for a game called The Gig, which is about being in a jazz band.
Wow!
Nice. Very nice. So yeah, this is a light sort of dice placement game where each player is like either like the keys or the vocal or the drum or something like that. You are placing dice in a central area as well, which is the song itself, but also scoring points by placing them in your little solo area in there. Didn't quite gel for me, but I'd like to play it more. I'm certainly interested in it, and it's good to see game designers like approaching different topics rather than just sort of the staples of, like Josh was saying earlier, with Sins, sci-fi and fantasy and that kind of thing are the staples. So it's good to see them trying to tackle different subjects. It's an interesting game certainly, and I'd definitely like to play a longer.
I do love sci-fi and fantasy, particularly fantasy. But as you say, it is nice to see people pushing the boundaries and exploring different themes.
Yeah, and certainly being a jazz musician is not something I ever expected to see on a tabletop. So that's awesome.
Yeah, over the course of the rest of the day, I hit up Bad Cat Games for Gladiatores demo. I picked up a preview copy of that as well, so I'll be getting that reviewed in the not too distant future.
We got a quick playthrough of Gladiatores. I think we need to play it a little bit more. We did play one round, but I need to play the campaign mode, the campaignish mode for it and that kind of thing before.
My initial thoughts were I did like the combat system. The feels very back and forth. Feels like an old-fashioned sword fight.
Yeah, the dueling decks, whereas essentially it's a sort of rock paper scissors mechanic.
Yeah, effectively,
right? That was interesting, but I haven't made my mind up about the scoring system quite yet.
Yeah.
But we have it on good authority that it feels a lot better when you're playing it through a full campaign.
Yeah, so I think it will. Yeah,
I think that's what we need to try.
A lot more sort of the gambling aspect will come in there.
Sure.
Hit up Towers of the Sun in the afternoon, which is a sort of like little stacking game.
Abstract game
of stacking little towers and like collecting sun for your little animal clan. It's a beautiful looking thing, sort of like a circle with like all these little stacks of things and collecting sort of sun crystals. It was myself and my friend Matt were playing it. It didn't quite work for us. That might have been a little translation. The gentleman who was teaching us English wasn't his first language. But we found that like the once there was a runaway leader, there wasn't much you could do about it.
Is there not also like quite a few of these sort of dexterity based stacking games?
It's not dexterity based. It's just an abstract that happens to have a stacking element in it. But something I'd like to try again when it's more fully finished because they're still working on it. And in that area as well, I hit up Digisprite, which is a Dundee-based group that I'd only come across in my preview. Didn't know they existed until
I only heard about them through Dave Wright because I think they've either just funded a Kickstarter or just launched one.
They just funded it. Yeah, they launched just before Expo. They just funded it. I've got a P&P to print out and give it a proper review at some point. But it's a fun little game. You're building like steampunkish bots and like climbing a massive tower to beat up an evil genius and steal their parts and then run back down to the bottom again to give them to your evil genius master who can then blow up the world with them.
What's not to love?
Yeah. It's a pretty fun little game, and the art is absolutely fantastic as well. It looks absolutely stunning. It's a really nice looking thing. Did I get around anything else that day? Oh yeah, I helped Turtle Dream Games and their game Dare to Dream. They weren't really demoing that; they were just sort of talking through it.
Okay.
It's a sort of tower defense-y game with a little bit like the Stuffed Fables kind of game that came out recently from Platat.
Yeah, so we've got a copy of that.
Yeah, Guardian toys, sort of like stopping nightmares coming at them, and it's like a one versus many kind of game.
Okay.
But I didn't really get a chance to play that. But again, I'd gone there because the art's really nice on that game.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. I did pick up probably my purchase of the con on the Friday, which is a book of dry wipe dungeon mats.
You were telling me about this. I think it's up for an award, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it is absolutely fantastic, and I know the guy sold out as well. But it's basically like 58 different maps, and you just turn it open up the throne room or
like
the lava pit.
Ring binder.
Oh yeah. No, I've
got it with me. I'll show you later. But
binder.
And it's all dry wipe and everything's fantastic.
Absolutely,
you just carry
brilliant.
Around with you. Yeah,
really absolutely good. Brilliant idea for any GM. Because I know from playing in the campaign that Tom's running. You know, he spends absolutely ages preparing the maps, and it's great. They look fantastic, and sometimes you just want to just. Yeah. You know what? how different can a throne room look?
Yeah,
right?
well,
Boom.
I'm a shockingly lazy GM when it comes to GMing, so anything that makes my life easier is always much appreciated.
Excellent.
And it always gives me a chance to buy things as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So on to the Saturday, and as we've already discussed, we had our play of Ruthless, which we were pretty impressed with.
Yeah.
Then what did we go and do?
I can't remember strictly what order we did them in.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a haze.
But we did play Wasteland Warfare, the Fallout miniatures game.
Yes.
Alright, how did we demo that at Drag Me last year? I'm not as much into my mini games as you guys are. I thought it was perfectly okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't really blow my mind or anything.
We both really liked it.
Fair enough.
The reason being, right, a lot of companies, particularly companies when they get a license like Fallout, they would just go, all right, well, we've got the Fallout license. Let's just churn out a minis game where you just chuck some dice.
We'll stick our mechanics onto the Fallout license. Done.
Yeah. Right? No, that's not what. It's Modiphius who are publishing it. I believe this is Modiphius' sort of first dip in the pond that is miniatures tabletop.
Predominantly an RPG. Publisher,
that's right. Yeah. So they do Star Trek Adventures, Conan,
Tales
from the Loop.
That is not strictly them printing that. I think that is from is it Finnish?
Oh right.
Free Aladdin or the Free League Publishing. I think they're distributing it. So they're distributing the Free League stuff in the UK.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're helping out with the printing there, but they're mainly a distributor for those products.
But there's certainly RPGs is what they're typically known for, and this is their first foray. And we were having a really good chat with John, who was brought on last year as to manage their War Games division, and he was just sort of describing their thought process behind the design of it. And he said he used to be a competitive tabletop player. He was well into the Warhammer Hoard scene, but bit burnt out on it, stopped enjoying that sort of play.
Sure.
So while he was saying you could probably play it competitively, it's not really designed with that in mind. The things that they are really pushing in this one is narrative play, campaigns, and co-op.
Sure.
And certainly co-op is something off the top of my head, I cannot think of another mini war game that does that. So you fight against an AI deck for a rival warband. We had a go at it. I was playing some Super Mutants, and Ben and Charlotte were playing the Vault Survivors. Ben, of course, was the lass in the power armor.
Yeah. Because made a beeline for the power armor.
Yeah, seems like a reasonable choice.
Yeah.
I managed to set you on fire.
You did, but then
it didn't actually do anything.
I actually brains your super mutant with a baseball bat, because when you're in power armor, that baseball bat becomes lethal.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, and you can testify to this more because you're a bigger fan of the Fallout series than I am, but it had the look and the feel of Fallout.
Yeah,
right?
the themes comes through quite well. I think the mechanics and their iconography,
weapons and all that.
Yeah, all the iconography on the dice, that kind of stuff. It does scream that series. That has been very well done.
Yeah.
So we are reliably informed that it is a finished game. They're on a ship somewhere.
Yeah.
They're making their way over.
Yeah, they were taking pre-orders January, February, and it was meant to be. I think it was meant to be a little earlier than this. It was coming out, so it's probably been delayed a wee bit by shipping them.
But certainly coming out this year, and we're definitely checking it out and going to give a full assessment of it. But certainly, first impressions, very good. We did actually play a neat little game before we hit Fallout, though. We played Ice Cool.
Yes, we did.
We've actually just been playing it this evening before recording because you picked up a copy.
Yeah, we only played it for 10 minutes, but I loved it so much I thought I need to get this.
Yeah,
it is fantastic. It's a great little game.
If you've never seen it, guys, basically you all play little penguins, and the little penguin miniatures are actually, they've got like a rocking bottom. Picture the old Sabutio footballers. And you're just flicking them around, and three of the players are students trying to catch all this fish around the board, and one of the players is playing the teacher who's trying to catch the students.
Yeah.
And it is just silly fun.
Yeah, it is worth saying, like, although they are like the Subito things, they're a lot heavier. There's a bit,
yes,
there's a good weight in them, a good heft
like
in the
mini
bottom.
versions of the sort of roly-poly men.
Yeah, the Weebles and things like that.
Yeah. And it looks brilliant. The box actually forms the board as well, which is just a really nice bit of...
So smart, and it's just so satisfying.
Yeah.
It all together, and the artwork's all brilliant. And actually the box, because it's all white with the little penguin on it and the blue font, it just screams class.
Yeah, it's a very elegantly put together product. Yeah. And they sold out of Ice Cold 2 as well, which adds a bunch more options. Yeah. I played a board with the Ice Cold 2 stuff, and it had like a bit in the middle that moved around, and
you were saying Ice Cold 2 rewards you for trick shots.
Yeah, you get like a couple of cards that say like, I'm going to hit off this wall and through that door to get that fish, and if you pull it off, you get points and things like that.
Yeah, but you absolutely dominated us at Ice Cold tonight. We played it twice, and Iain won both times.
Well, he's a penguin shark, if you will.
Absolutely. I just spent all today practicing Ice Cold, knowing that you had bought it. Yeah, Charlotte let me know. And I was
just like hiding behind the pillar, watching me buy it.
Get in there.
Good. Yeah.
So we really enjoyed playing that game. Yeah. But yes, played Fallout. Very good first impression of that as well. What else did we play yesterday?
It becomes a little bit of a blur in the press because you're going around so much stuff and talking to so many people. It just becomes a little bit. First thing I hit up in the morning was UK Indie RPG League, which is a little bit like the collective endeavour I used to be a part of. It's independent RPG publishers banding together on a single stall to cut costs and putting out their products. They had the really cool looking Spire, which I almost backed last year, which is a sort of game set in a massive vertical city, and you level up by changing the city around you, which sounds like a really cool idea, and the artwork's fantastic. They also are the sellers of Honey Heist and Jason Statham's Lovely Holiday, which
as a concept sounds amazing.
Yeah, you just have to help Jason Statham have a lovely holiday. It's a 2-page RPG for like £2.
Does someone actually get to play Jason Statham?
I don't know, because they had sold out, unfortunately, so I couldn't grab a copy. But they did have the Honey Heist game, which is a game about bears stealing honey, on a t-shirt.
Yeah, actually the rules are actually printed on a t-shirt. So the GM just stands there, look at me in my glory. Right.
And apparently, like the resolution system was written on the bottom in reverse, so you could like pull your t-shirt out and look at
it. That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's excellent.
Totally fantastic.
One thing we did try at the very tail end of Saturday, we just got in there as the exhibition hall was closing. Because frankly, every time we popped by their stand, they were mobbed. It was Villagers.
Villagers.
Yes, that was the one.
The hype is real on Villagers. I got a preview copy sent onwards to me by Rory from Board Means. We had a couple of games on Saturday night. Yeah. And the hype is real on that one.
We were quite fortunate in that when we went by Hakon,
the
designer was there. Yeah. Really nice guy, and he was quite smart, because I think it can be quite a long game depending on just how much of an engine the players end up building. But we basically played 2 rounds of it, and I will admit that I was a little bit confused at first at just how everything interacted.
It takes a couple turns to grok probably exactly what's going on.
Yeah, but once we got going, like I had all the a whole load of hay things that were all interacting with one another, and I had cards that were going to give me more points for the amount of hay things that I had. So it's a lot of time with engine builders, it's a fight to get the best stuff, whereas in Villagers it feels as though there's enough of a spread of cool things for everyone to build and something interesting.
And again, it's got that, like, some games I find, like, I quite like the game, but the pace is totally off, and with Villagers it's like 4 or 5 turns, you're done, basically. So you've got to, like,
the drafting's nice as well.
You've got to act. You've got to like really go aggressively in there if you want to win. So there's a really good pace to that game.
Worth stating as well, the art style is absolutely lovely.
The art style is lovely, but there's some of the cards where the villagers look very, very surprised at what they're doing. They've got like these eyes that look slightly weird, googly eyes.
Well, like the spelunker actually kind of made me.
The spelunker's like, and the apprentice is like cross-eyed. I think that must be deliberate.
Well, do you know, Hakon explained that it's set in the Dark Ages, most of Europe's just died from the Black Death.
Right.
And everyone's just trying to, they're scrabbling to try and get these jobs to get
enough.
the world going again. So that's maybe why everyone's looking a bit deranged.
That's true.
Far away, look in their eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Kickstarter right now. It's doing incredibly well.
Well, it absolutely smashed its goal.
There's a bunch of stretch goals in there. It's coming in a cool little box with like dividers and stuff like that. And I think the buy-in for the version with wooden tokens is like £30 or something.
It's an absolute bargain.
Yeah, I've backed it.
Price. Yeah.
I backed it before getting to play it, and the hype is strong and indeed real on that one. It's very, very, very
Hakon
good.
was saying like it's just completely overshot any of their expectations.
Yeah, every time I passed that buyout stall, I was just like, nope, I'm not getting in there. Nope, I'm not getting.
And
in there.
they were pretty remote.
Yeah, they were.
You can tell it's indicative of they really weren't expecting how successful that Kickstarter was going to be, because they have. I mean, it was a nice store, don't get me wrong, but basically they had 2 demo tables and that's it. Whereas like some of the stores are absolutely massive, right? So it was just mobbed every single time, and for good reason. So we're really looking forward to giving that a proper go. I believe we're getting a review copy sent, so we'll share our thoughts on that. But again, first impressions, very good.
Yeah.
And then later on Saturday, we went to a gig. We went to see the JollyBoat.
Yep.
Who were lovely guys, 2 brothers. We actually bumped into them on the train on
Thursday night.
Thursday night,
after the preview.
Yeah. And they are a comedy duo that perform music. Absolutely hilarious. I was laughing pretty much for the whole hour straight. Yes. So and they do all sorts. They do Edinburgh Fringe and all of that. So worth checking out if you ever get an opportunity.
If you're easily offended, though,
maybe sneakily. Yeah. We're not though.
No. I probably got that impression.
Yeah, that's probably evident. But anyway, so which brings us on. Oh, well, actually, what else were you able to check, Iain?
So I checked out the new game from UK Games, who do Ominones, which is a dice rolling placement game. They've got a new one called Ominones Hieroglyphs.
This is the
tiling thing. I think I like it more than Ominones. It's it's less luck based. I quite like Ominones, but it's a little bit too luck based for my taste.
Yeah.
But the tile line and sort of choices are just enough choices to be interesting without being overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. So I think Rory said to me on I think it was the Thursday night actually. He felt the opposite.
Yeah.
That he preferred Ominones.
Yeah, Rory's a big fan of Ominones though. He really likes that game. But yeah, I think it's a little better title, and I think I'll do really well for them. I mean, Ominones has been a massive hit for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hopefully it'll do well. They had a few sort of pre-production copies, I think, on the stall over Expo, and that'll be coming out properly later in the year.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting little tiling game. Who else did I hit up? I'm referring to my website because I can't actually remember. I went to Inspiring Games, who are a Scottish company that I only get to see at cons because reasons.
Yes.
So yeah, they're doing Legends Untold. I got the right way around, I think. And that's coming out fairly soon to backers, and they're going to be hitting retail as well, I believe.
Yeah, this was something that Charlotte was able to check out while we were at Shadespire, actually, and she was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I previewed right back, but when I decided to start doing the journalism side of the brain, they were one of the first companies that contacted me for previews, and I previewed it before the art change and everything.
Sure.
And I liked it, but it did need that sort of graphical kick in the pants, and it's absolutely had that. It looks fantastic. Yeah, it looks really
quite
really
a
good.
fantasy Celtic-y vibe.
Yeah, definitely. I also managed to check out Lord the Hoard with Ross from More Games Please and Rory from Board Meetings. That's their new game. I'm not. I think it's still in development at the moment of basically being an orc warlord beating dwarfs up. So that's something you'll probably not.
Oh, that's right up your street, Ben.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm out.
It's incredibly dwarfist.
Yeah.
Totally dwarfist.
Bang out of order.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was okay.
Dwarf lives matter.
all the Dorothy killers just holding up a little stand. It was an okay game. I think Rory, Ross, and I all felt like it needed still a little bit more work. There was a sort of dueling thing that happened if you both. But essentially, you're fighting over settlements for glory, and you choose secretly where you're going. And there were 6 for 3 of us. There were 6 settlements to choose from for 3 of us, so it meant we never ended up in the same place. So the dueling system that's in there, we never saw. We had a wee go of it because they wanted to show us.
Yeah, sure.
So like I've fed back to Kevin a little bit about like changes I think they can make to make that sing a little bit more. I'm going to email them about that soon. But yeah, it's certainly got potential. It just needs that sort of final polish to make it really, really sing. And I think they'll have a neat wee card game on their hands.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Cool.
Who else did I hit up? Help the Noble Artist, who's a guy contacted me just before Hit Expo. He had his game called, I'm going to get this name right, Hero Master, which is an epic game of epic fails, where you're basically the rubbish heroes because all the good heroes have gone off to do other things.
All right.
And a dragon turns up in your village.
Yeah.
It's sort of got a sort of comedy, dungeony, slightly munchkin-y vibe to it. It was an okay little game. Maybe a little overly complicated for my taste. A little bit too gotcha for what I usually like. But really nice art. And yeah, fun wee game.
But it was one that I think we were hoping to try and check out, but yeah, just not enough hours in the day. In the 4 days that we've been here.
Yeah, manage to get to play the Mind in the evening as well, which is the sort of current BGG Marmite hotness thing.
Nobody cared about that game until it got nominated for Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah, I did enjoy my games of it.
Okay.
It is a game. It's not just an activity. So there are choices to be made.
Right.
It is definitely you're either going to love playing that with people if you've got the right group, or absolutely hate it. It's definitely Marmite.
Right.
And I think the group you're playing with is probably going to matter a lot.
Right.
I know this sounds terrible, but I hate the idea.
Yeah, when I heard about it, I was like, that's not a game. But I did enjoy it. And there are choices to be made, and it's a little bit more nuanced than you just play lowest card. There are some other things to think about as well. So you've got like cards that make everyone discard the lowest card and that kind of thing. So there's choices to be made about how quickly you can get through like a level of the Mind. Yeah. But yeah, I need to play it more to form a proper opinion. But it's an okay little game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the top amazing thing that those who really love it seem to think
that's what I was going to say. I don't really feel that I'm going to be missing out on anything
if
I don't get around to playing it.
I mean, it was perfectly good fun, but it's not like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever.
But the people on the internet are losing their minds over it.
Yeah. He's here all week.
That's a solid. I'll give that one a 6.
So is a 6 average in your book, or?
Well, by definition, 5 is average.
Is there somewhere on our site we can go and look at the rating system and exactly what that means?
I shall publish the rating system upon the website in good time.
In journalist open integrity.
In the interest of being open and honest about this scoring system. Yeah. It was good. It was good. Yeah. But it could have obscured the pun a bit more to make it a little better. But,
critiquing puns, that's just low. That is. I'm disgusted.
You're talking to the dad joke aficionado here. So.
No, come on. I can't take that title off Scott.
Yeah.
Scott is the king of dad jokes. Scott, hi. He'll be listening.
I hope so.
Just before we move off from Saturday, there was one RPG that we spotted that really caught yours and Charlotte's attention. Not really my sort of thing, but you were really interested in it because it had a bit of a Celtic vibe to it.
Shadows of Esteren.
Yes. Really, really interesting though. It's got a very dark sort of like sinister horror feel to it. Iain,
I think Shadows of Esteren is your very typical fantasy heartbreaker, effectively.
Right.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, it looks, don't get me wrong, the art and everything looks gorgeous, but there is a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And I have never heard like absolutely shining things about it. I mean, I think it's okay, but I don't know if it's much more than that. I haven't played it myself, so I can't say. Yeah. But
we've not played it either. I mean, we didn't even know it existed until.
Yeah, my mate Gaz from the Smart Party podcast is the guy I stay with at Expo. I think he has bought the book or read through it, and he's got a fairly good eye for RPGs, and it was just kind of like, it's okay, but it's fairly sort of fancy heartbreakery kind
so
of thing.
this is the thing actually. When we were chatting, they didn't. I tend to find when you're chatting RPGs with any company, unless you're sitting down and actually trying it, you don't get into like the sort of meat and potatoes about what the mechanics are and how it works. So, but in terms of theme and the aesthetics of it, very well presented. Yeah, it's a bit dark for my taste personally. I'm a light-hearted kind of guy.
I don't like games where they go, oh, combat's lethal, because it's like, I want to run around punching orcs.
Yeah, I mean, some games will have that to make it feel like realistic, I guess. Like, so, like I've run quite a lot of Pendragon.
Yes.
And combat is meant to be. It's meant to hurt in that because you're hitting each other with really big swords and you have very little to protect you. Yeah. So combat's meant to hurt, and you're meant so. Like, it does make the characters behave differently because you're like, let's get into combat. Maybe not, because we'll get murdered.
I get that. It's
a very different style of play.
Yeah, the setting sounded interesting, but I quite like getting stuck in. To combat in games, so that I found a little bit off-putting. But they had this really interesting idea for the enemies in this game, and it's this force that infects all life. So they were saying like there's things in the game like you can be walking along and then the roses are just like following you. So that sounded quite interesting. That the threat in the game is a bit more insidious than your big ugly orcs that are storming your castles. But I think I love the artwork, but I don't know if I'm interested enough to necessarily explore it.
I think the really interesting stuff happening in RPGs right now is still happening in the indie scene. So things like Blades in the Dark, Forgotten Lands, which was on the UK indie RPG stand I mentioned earlier, which sort of post-apocalyptic kind of game, but like what happens afterwards, what do you do now, rebuilding the world kind of stuff, rather actually rebuilding the world. Spire as well looks really cool, and there's a lot of like in the sort of indie scene, there's a lot of RPGs tackling really interesting subjects and like branching out from like your more traditional sort of fantasy sci-fi stuff. And tackling really cool things.
So that was our pretty concise, well, maybe not so concise roundup of our Saturday, but a roundup nonetheless.
Hi everyone, thanks for listening to part 1 of our UK Games Expo review. We hope you have enjoyed it. Part 2 will be available for your listening pleasure from the 7th of June, so be sure to listen in then. In the meantime, why not follow us on Twitter and Facebook? You can find us under Unlucky Frog. Also, check out our Patreon. If you want to support us, you like what we do, then go to www.patreon.com/unluckyfrog, and that will give you all the information you need to find out how to support us. Thanks!